See, whatever you're doing, however you spend your time, that tells you who you are. So think about what it is you like to create in your life experience. Once I look at how you commit your time, once I do an evaluation of how you spend your time, I can tell you exactly what you're committed to. People say they have dreams, that they want to open a business or that they want to do something different from what they're doing now. They don't like their jobs, they're unhappy, they're unfulfilled. People say they want to improve their income level. Look at how they spend their time. How they spend their time, the commitment of their time, how they use that will really tell the truth. People who say, I'd like to do better, but you don't find them in vocational or technical schools upgrading their skills and their knowledge, that tells you what's really going on. People who say they want to normalize their weight, they want to be healthy, but every time you see them, they're eating unhealthy food, that tells you that they're committed to being obese for the rest of their lives. People tell you they want to stop smoking, but they're lighting up at that very moment. Folks say, I want to stop drinking, yet every time you see them, they reek of alcohol. That tells you what's going on. You don't have to listen to what they say, just watch what they do. Commitment shows up in your life in what you do. On the other hand, you can make the commitment to change your life. If you don't like the results you have, you can decide to do something about it. That power is available to all of us. People who look at life and decide, I want something different for myself. Carol Hatfield, a single mother from Detroit, decided she wanted to start her own business. She didn't have enough money to do it. She wanted to open a health food store, so she sold her car and used the money to start a small storefront, a little hole in the wall. She rode to work on a bicycle. Then, when she got enough money, she bought a motor scooter. She did that for a long time. Now, she's a very successful person. She owns 3 health food stores. She said, it was harder to struggle than to just commit. She said, but I did it. I made the commitment to do it, and I did it. Why is it that people are frightened by commitment? Because when you say the word commitment, it intimidates a lot of people. Why? Because it means you have to deliver. See, most people, when you ask them, hey, I'd like you to do this, they'll say, I'll try. I'll try means that is my escape clause. When I don't come through, it's a polite way of saying no. I don't have the courage to tell you no, so I'll tell you I tried. Hey, look, I need you to come to this meeting. I'll try. What do you mean? You're going to lean toward the meeting. Try and sit down. You either do or you don't. Try and take this pencil out of my hand. You either do or you don't. There's no such thing as try. Most people like to use that language because they don't want to commit themselves. Because commitment means, among many things, no excuse is acceptable. That's what it means. No excuse. That if you decided you want to do this, if it becomes hard, then do it hard. If it's difficult, so what? If it's inconvenient, so what? See, a lot of people made a commitment to come here tonight, but they looked outside and said, it's raining. The temperature dropped. It's cold outside, and they decided to give up on their commitment. And that's how people treat their dreams. They don't honor their commitment to themselves. Let me tell you what happens when you don't keep your commitment. Number one, it begins to deplete your self-esteem and erodes your self-image. It weakens your faith in yourself. You don't feel good when you don't keep your commitments. The other thing is that you begin to develop weak relationships with people. People begin to realize they can't depend on you. They can't rely on you because you won't keep your word. You can establish that kind of reputation. Just think, what would your life be like if you decided to keep your commitments? What would all our lives be like if we decided to keep our commitments? If we decided to do the things that we said we were going to do? If we wouldn't even speak it unless we were going to do it? Just for a week, just see what it would be like. Make a 7-day commitment. I won't say I will do anything unless I'm going to do it. And find out what your life will be like. And let me tell you what, if you follow through, if you keep your commitment to the commitment, at the end of those 7 days, you'll feel strong and powerful. Because by honoring your commitment, each time you do that, it empowers you. Whenever discipline is required, whatever it is that you must do. So I'm suggesting, number one, commit yourself to living in the present. I saw the movie Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams, and the phrase was carpe diem, seize the moment. Many of us are not able to move forward, to develop, to manifest our greatness because we spend so much time looking back or worrying about the future. Seize the moment. See, you cannot go into the future and manifest your greatness when you have things in your life blocking you. Let's look at how we can begin to keep our commitments. Remember what Dr. Robert Anthony said about results. When you keep your commitments, you're able to produce different results in your life. So how do we keep our commitments? And do we keep all commitments? No, we don't. You will not be at 100%. However, you will have a greater percentage rate of maintaining your commitments to yourself, whatever those things might be. Whether it's going into business, changing a habit that works against you, overcoming self-destructive behavior, retraining your thinking, reinventing yourself, or redesigning your relationships, all of us have the possibility. By focusing, harnessing our attention and concentrating on it, we really have the power to honor our commitments in those areas. So number one, make it a priority. See, no one would get on an airplane if they thought their chances of getting to their destination were as good as their luggage. Am I correct? And the reason you will reach your destination more often than your luggage is because the airline thankfully has made it a priority to move the human beings from one point to another safely, not just your luggage. So I'm not really upset when my luggage doesn't make it, but I sure am glad that I do. When my luggage doesn't show up, I'm glad they've delivered me because they've made me a priority. See, they have made delivering you to your destination important. So if you want to honor your commitment, whatever you decide that you're going to do, make sure you make it important. Make sure it is a priority. Keep it before you. The other thing is, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to begin to create and manifest your greatness and strengthen your level of commitment, it's really about exercising your will. Find something that you want to do toward your goal, one action step. But make sure it stretches you, that it challenges you, yet is doable. Make sure you can do it. This year I decided that I was going to exercise, so I started out doing just 10 sit-ups and 10 push-ups. I know I can do that without getting upset about it. I can do that without thinking. So I start out small. Now I'm up to 50, but if I tried to do 50 starting out, I wouldn't still be doing it. I started with manageable segments. Do that, and it strengthens your will. So my commitment now is strengthened and fortified by the activity of actually doing it. Now I can expand and build from there. When I decided to begin managing my money differently, I started saving 5% of my money. Then I increased it to 10% and then to 15%. Now I have disciplined myself to live off 75% of my income. It took discipline to do that, but I started watching how I was spending my money. I started following the law and holding myself accountable. You want to begin by finding something that is manageable, something that you know you can do. The next thing in keeping your commitments to yourself is having friends who will hold you accountable, people who won't let you off the hook, who will not tolerate anything less than the best from you. These are people who will support you in this new way of being, in this new state of consciousness. Another important thing is to have a contingency plan. See, many times when you make a commitment to do something, there are other variables that will happen that you can't control or perhaps didn't think about. So you want to have other plans in place. You want to become creative. See, most people don't keep their commitments because when something goes wrong, they just stop. They don't have a contingency plan, so they don't know what to do next. Stop being creative. Many times I say, I don't know what to do, and I always ask myself, but if you didn't know what to do, what would it be? That activates another part of my mind. I start thinking about the possibilities and just experimenting. But many of us just stop in our tracks saying, I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. You've got genius in you. Challenge yourself, push yourself, make yourself come up with something. Use your imagination. What you will find is that you know more than you realize. You are more creative and resourceful than you realize. And as you do that, the more you do it, the easier it will become. At first, it's going to be a struggle. After you get into a certain level of consciousness, you will ask yourself, how is it that I didn't see this before? How is it that I didn't do this before? The reason that I didn't see it before is because I didn't challenge myself. I didn't put myself out here. See, the reason that most of us go through life never discovering our true greatness is because we are literally walking, breathing corpses. The uncommitted life isn't worth living. Why? Because it doesn't produce anything. See, you only make things happen. Your life only counts. You only make a difference when you are committed. When you make a commitment with your life, that's when things happen. The people who make a commitment with their lives, the people who make a commitment to their customers, to their families, to their relationships are the people who make the greatest impact in life. What is commitment? Commitment is the salesman who says, look here, I'm going to make $1,000 today and I'm not going home. You can turn the lights off, the janitors can be here running the vacuum cleaner, but I'm not leaving until I do it. I used to be a door-to-door salesman. I had a set number of TVs I knew I had to sell every day in order to provide for my mother, who was ill at the time, who had lost her job at the MN cafeteria because of arthritis. I said, I'm going to go door to door. Sometimes I would not be done until 1 o'clock at night, knocking on people's doors. People would answer, what do you want? I'd ask, would you like to buy a nice working Montgomery Ward television set? No money down. How about an Emerson TV? They'd say, no, thank you very much. I'd ask, do you know anybody else that would be interested? No, thank you very kindly. I'd knock on another door. Hello, would you like to buy a nice working television set? No money down. No, get away from our door. Thank you very kindly. Do you know anybody else who might be interested? Yeah, my cousin, he lives 2 doors down. Thank you very kindly. I'll tell him you sent me. When I talked to the cousin, I'd say, your cousin told me that you wanted to buy a television set and told me to come here and talk to you. Got a special discount for you. Yes, come in. I'm interested. I'd keep right on. I wouldn't go home until I did it. It's an interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen, that when we put ourselves in a situation where we say we're going to do it, puts us in another zone where the universe responds to us. When you have that kind of consciousness, the universe responds to the man or woman who refuses to be denied. That is your commitment. That business you want, that book you want to write, that dream you have of controlling your destiny, that is yours. The power to create, manifest, that is available to you, but you've got to be willing to stand there and face disappointment. Not have support, be lonely, doubt yourself sometimes, be rejected again and again and again. Become bankrupt if necessary again and again and again, and refuse to turn around until life gives it up. Nothing can resist the person who has that kind of commitment. The people who have made a difference on this planet. When John F. Kennedy said, we will go to the moon in this next decade, he spoke it. That was a commitment, and people shared that vision. People bought into that. We've had all kinds of examples in history where people made declarations and committed their lives to bring about change. There are people who are taking a stand today against hunger. I guarantee you it will be a part of our past at some point in time. Someone took a stand against polio and it no longer plagues us as it once did, because someone said, it is my commitment to eradicate it from the face of the earth. Someone made the commitment. The reason that we're here enjoying the democracy that we have is because someone made a commitment. They said, whatever it requires, if it means I die, then that's what it takes. Commitment means standing up for your life. It means honoring yourself. It means beginning to see and recognize your alignment and oneness with the universe, knowing that you are a channel for life to express through. We short-circuit this with anger, with fear, with envy. We short-circuit it by being lazy, apathetic, or giving up easily. Why is it always too hard? It's too hard. We don't challenge our spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing as powerful as the human spirit. You can't destroy it, you can pervert it, but you can't destroy it. I was reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. What a powerful book. I'm reading it now for the 7th time, and he gives so many graphic examples of the power of the human spirit. So what are some of the things that can fortify us and give us the kind of inner strength that will allow us to move forward into the future by manifesting our commitments? Number 1, commitment. Commitment means, in some cases, going back to school, sitting in classes with people younger than you, putting yourself in a position where you don't know. And that is awkward and uncomfortable. But because of your commitment to develop yourself, or to go back to school to get a high school diploma or a college degree, it doesn't matter feeling dumb and thinking, what am I doing here? Sitting up in some boring class. Commitment can mean a lot of things. It could mean that you have to go back. Sometimes it means backing up, not giving up, but regrouping, backing up and regrouping, then coming back again. Because life is way larger than just getting knocked down. I know when I was working on my dream, there were times I lost my house. At one point, I lost my car. I was broke, my credit was bad. I was sleeping at different friends' houses on their couches or on the floor. There were months I slept on the floor of my office and got up early, dressed before my staff got there, to give them the impression that I got there before they did. And we all pretended not to know what we knew, that the boss was staying in the office, so we never talked about it. But I refused to give up on my dream. What happens, they say, is that in the prosperous years, you put it in your pocket. In the lean years, you put it in your heart. It makes me appreciate it even more. Even more, I wouldn't trade it for anything, the disappointment, the pain that I've gone through by keeping the commitment. Keeping the commitments that you have might mean taking a stand that's unpopular. Something was said one time: when you take a position, cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Politics asks the question, is it popular? Conscience or commitment asks the question, is it right? And see, most people would rather operate from the first two. Is it safe for me to take this position? I remember when I was a state legislator, I saw guys and women who believed in legislation very strongly, but because the Speaker of the House said, we won't go with that, they backed down. And they felt bad about it. They wouldn't take the position because they didn't want the Speaker of the House to be angry at them. They wanted to be all right with the rest of their colleagues. See, it takes a great deal of strong courage and commitment on your part to step out of line. You know, like Henry David Thoreau said, the man who does not keep pace with his companions perhaps is listening to the beat of a different drummer. Let him dance to the music that he hears. I've always measured or far apart. When you are committed, you're dancing to the beat of a different drummer. Don't expect people to understand you. Don't expect it to make sense to anybody. Why you've got to do this, why you've got to go, why you leave. This is a good job. They pay you well. You're just a few years from retirement. I'm going. Why? I don't understand. You don't have to. I'm going for me because I've made a different kind of commitment with my life. This is something I have got to do. Commitment means taking a stand. Taking a stand for you. It means delivering. It means coming through. What if you don't keep your commitment? What if you give it everything you have and come up short? Or if you don't give it everything you have, what if you're getting weak along the way and throwing in the towel, surrendering to your emotions? What then? A lot of people become discouraged. They become frustrated and they say, oh, what the heck, and go back to doing what they were doing before, saying it doesn't work. Here's what I suggest. If that does happen, take total responsibility for it. Just own it. Don't make any excuses for why you gave in or why you didn't come through. Just own it and face the flak, whatever it is. Stand up inside yourself. The next thing is to assess the situation. How did you get here? What happened that you broke down, that you had a breakdown and surrendered? What happened? What was going on? See, when I used to go on a diet and I no longer do that, I've made a commitment to a healthy lifestyle. I used to eat up until 12 midnight on Sunday, anything that wasn't moving. And on Monday I would get up, eat a fruit breakfast and fix some boiled chicken, meticulously peel the skin off and eat the chicken, then eat the skin. Do 5 sit-ups, look in the mirror and become discouraged because my stomach didn't look like a washboard or one of the Abercrombie Fitch models. What did I do? Then I'd go to the refrigerator and eat cold food standing right there. When I evaluated where I broke down, I realized I couldn't have junk food in the house. So I had to remove it. Then I realized there were certain streets I couldn't drive down, so I changed my route. I stopped taking people to lunch or dinner because I couldn't sit there and watch them eat while I had to sit there hungry. I would say, call me downstairs when it's time for me to speak, because if I sat at the table looking at them, the food was going to call my name, and I knew this. So I had to begin making sure that I wasn't putting myself in a position where I would give up on my commitment. Am I making sense to you? So I began to strategize around avoiding situations where I knew I was going to become weak. Another thing I do, when I don't keep my commitment, I either deny myself something or I make a trade-off. If a glazed donut takes advantage of me, then I require myself to do an extra 25 sit-ups or walk for an extra 15 or 20 minutes. It's like I put a hammerlock on my head and say, come on over here. So you might have to deny yourself something or make a trade-off. Do something that will offset it. The other thing is, start again. So what if you fell flat on your face? So what? Start again. Learn from experience and start again. Don't count yourself out. Don't sentence yourself to a lifetime of being miserable, a lifetime of being broke, a lifetime of being unhealthy, a lifetime of being in a relationship that is no longer fulfilling to you, a lifetime of working on a job that does not bring you satisfaction, that's not giving you the creative urge that you need and have to have in your life to stimulate you. Don't sentence yourself to stuff like that. You are a human being. Don't volunteer your life that way. Your life has too much value to the universe. You've got something to contribute. You've got something to give. And so what if you make a commitment and you're not able to do it like a pro, or if you're not as good as everybody else? Live in the moment. I like what this says. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the realities and verities of existence, the bliss of growth, the splendor of action, the glory of power. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. For today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. If we just start enjoying where we are, if we make that kind of commitment to enjoy where we are, to experience the experience of life where we are, to do all we can right now where we are, forget about the mistakes of yesterday. Forget about all your failures from yesterday. Forget about what you don't have. That's not important. The only thing that we have is right now, right now, right now. And I say that life is calling on you to call forth that. The optimists, which I think is one of the most positive groups in the world, have something called the Optimist Creed, and I like what it says. I changed it to commit yourself because I think that commitment has more power than a promise. It says, commit yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all your friends feel that there is something in them. To look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true. To think only of the best, to work only for the best, and expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. To forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. To wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile. To give so much time to the improvement of yourself that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. Commit yourself to these things. Isn't that powerful? What a commitment to make with your life. Commit yourself to stretch, to get outside of your comfort zone, and not be concerned about what people think about you, because they're thinking it anyhow. Don't worry about what they will say. They're already saying it, so what do you care? Decide that your life has so much meaning to the planet. Decide that you have something to give, that's why you're here. You didn't just show up, you brought something here. You're on a journey. You have a destination, a mission to achieve, to do, to implement, to perform, to experience. Decide to commit yourself to be an adventurer in life. Look out on life around you, look within yourself and say, where is it in my life that I need to make a commitment right now? It might be for your health, it might be to be a happier person, it might be to make a difference in your community. Where is it? I say that commitment shows up in the man or woman who has some idea, some dream that they've been nurturing within themselves. And no one believed in it. No one saw it for them. They weren't masters at it. They weren't experts at it. No one would build a statue or ever call their name or recognize them. They never made it to the front page of the newspaper. But they had something that was theirs, something that they loved and believed in, and they just did what they could with what God gave them with their dream. Commitment shows up in people who are willing to give themselves a chance, who look at their lives, look within themselves and say, I know that this just cannot be it for my life. I know there's something I'm supposed to do. I don't know right now, or maybe you do know, and you've talked yourself out of it. I understand that. I've been there. I'm late, but know everything happens as it should. I got the courage to step out, to become committed. I was seriously not serious before. It took me some time to build up the courage to become committed because it frightened me. So I understand wrestling with that. I wish I could tell you I've been doing this for 20 years. I haven't. I'm just glad that I decided to become committed before I left here. And wherever you are, decide that you're going to commit your life now. And let it show up in your contribution. Let it show up in what you have to share. And whatever commitment you make, honor your commitment as yourself. Honor your word as yourself. Whatever you put out there, do it with all you've got. So I want to thank you very much for your consciousness. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, Leslie Calvin Brown, saying it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Thank you all.